Okay, everybody, this is video 27. It's called mental breakdown. So I'm going to show you how having a mental breakdown can help achieve goals. Mental breakdown. So, anyways, when I was a kid, I was watching the movie Annie, and she was an orphan. And if you haven't watched the show, and she got adopted by like a millionaire. I'm just going to say billionaire because back then $1 million was a lot, right? And when I was a kid back then, so now I'm thinking, yeah, it's probably more like $1 billion now, right? If they made another movie on it. So $1 million, and I was trying to envision what $1 million is, right? Because I could count and everything, 1 million, but I tried starting to count up there and I get to like 1,000 and stuff. I was thinking, how long does it take to get to 1 million? How much is a 1 million? It was really hard to kind of grasp the concept at that age of how many numbers are 1 million. It kind of helped me when I got to how long it took to get to 1,000 to understand that if I had 1,000, I think that adds up to a million. Correct me if I'm wrong, but what would 1,000 thousands look like? In my mind, how could I picture that? See, if this is your goal, 1 million, let's say $1 million, it makes it a lot easier to achieve if you can actually kind of chunk that down into a concept that your mind can just kind of grab a hold of and understand and assimilate, take in. And so because if it's just kind of if your mind can't really grasp what it looks like, then it's kind of hard to see yourself as achieving it. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, I made a box once. Like I got a chest, and it was about this big, kind of like that. And I stuck in there. I kind of wanted to visualize what $1 million was, and I made just stacks of paper. Like if you get from the store, just paper, and had it cut so that it would kind of mimic the same sort of size of if you got cash from the banks, and they roll up hundreds kind of thing in a stack, and rolled those up, and then I kind of want to visualize how many $1 million was visually, like how much space that would take up. So it all fit within this box, right? And it was say, so if you got 100 hundreds, times 100, that is $1 million, I believe, 1 million. So correct me if I'm wrong, but if you had 100 bills in a stack, it would add up to about that much, right? And then if you had 100 stacks of these $100 bills, that would equal 1 million. So 100 stacks of like that, you can pile them in 10, 10 rows of 10, then you can visualize that's $1 million. So that helps, and then you can kind of see that it would fit in about, take about that much space, right? So we're trying to break it down in a way that we can visualize it. So how does this apply for goal attainment? Once we kind of break it down into a way that our brain can more easily assimilate, let's say you're a person that teaches people and speaks and stuff and goes on the road, and you have an audience of 100 people, right? So you're in a room and there's 100 people in there. You can visualize that, right? And they all buy, so let's say, a program from you. They include some books and audio CDs and videos and stuff like that, and it's $129 or whatever, and it costs, let's say, $29 to create the program, for the material, or even better yet, you sell it just online for $100, and it doesn't cost you anything to send it, the program online, right? Once you've already created videos and audios and stuff like that, and PDF files, books, and whatnot. So let's say you have an audience of 100, or you do some sort of webinar that has 100 people, and they all buy your $100 program where your profit is $100, right? So an audience of 100, and they all purchase a program for $100. Okay, and then you do this. Well, I guess you'd have to do that 100 times, right? But what I'm saying, and then times 100 times. Now, even like doing that like 100 times, that kind of seems like a lot, but at least, like doing it over and over again, kind of seems like a long road. But what we're doing is at least we can kind of visualize a road to get to our goal, right? If you think, how are you going to make $1 million and you don't have a plan, then you're not going to move forward towards that, achieving that goal, right? So we have to have break it down in our mind where we can see that, I can see, that, it's possible that have an audience of 100 people. I can visualize that would be something that, if I did some marketing and stuff and talked to some friends, maybe I could do that once. And let's say you had this awesome program and you made, the value, worth thousands of dollars, and you're only charging $100 for it, and people would buy that, right? You could visualize that 100 people in an audience, online or in person, bought a program that you profited $100 on each person buying it, and it's thousands of dollars worth of value. And then to do it 100 times, let's say you do 10 different organizations in 10 cities, let's say. All right, so that kind of breaks down this number into a more chunkable goal that we could see ourselves doing. Let's say, I could see myself going to this city, let's say, and then there's 10 groups, that have a lot of people in their group, and more than 100 people show up and 100 people buy, right? And do that 10 times in one city, and go to another city and do that 10 times in that city. And then you're just kind of, it's easier to visualize that, I see that as possible, right? I see that as something that could happen. And I see that as a road towards, let's say, this goal of $1 million that breaks it down into a way that it just simplifies it and makes our mind think that, I think that's possible. I see a way to get there. And I believe that that's a lot easier to, a plausible goal, and a lot easier to actually attain than, trying to get $1 million by, like trying to win the lotto or something like that. So, this could break down into 10 cities of, times, 100 or, you do that 10 times. So, 10 cities, 10 times, how do you answer 100 program for $100? You just break it down. So my math isn't great. So anyways, maybe, all the time. So anyways, that's how I break down the mental concept of what my goals are, just so that I can visualize it. It seems plausible, and I can kind of see what it looks like. I also made a big grid, on the wall, and I took that paper where it has really fine like a grid and stuff like that, and each grid like that was like 10 times 10. It was like 100, and I had 100 of those. Anyways, I had a grid. Basically, it was so large, and the small, it was all sectioned off, and it was basically 1 million locations on this big kind of wall grid, and I could, look at any specific spot, which would represent the number it was the location for, right? So 500, and 564,728, had this very specific spot, and I could just go there on the grid because it was organized, right? Hundreds, 200s, 300s, and then thousands and everything like that. It was just, I thought it was a neat idea. Anyways, so yeah, mental breakdown, break down your goals. You can visualize it. You can take it in your mind. It seems plausible. It makes it, seem more realistic, for your brain to break and grasp the concept. All right, thanks.